As soon as I jumped off the plane, this was one of the first things that I seen in my phone, blowing my phone up, and it was reports of Andrew Tate getting arrested along with his brother in Romania. So I believe it was Romania. I'm gonna go through the whole report, and so as soon as I landed, I started looking at this. I jumped in my rental car and I checked into my Airbnb or whatever because we got the Lapeef Let's Talk show tonight. But I definitely wanted to tap in with you guys and give you my thoughts on this whole Andrew Tate thing. Now, I do have a completely, maybe a little bit of a completely different perspective. But before we get into it, I definitely want to go into what my thoughts are on this whole Andrew Tate thing because we know that he just did the show with Just Pearly Things, which means that he flew from London over to a completely different country where he was arrested, and we're gonna go from there, right? So, obviously, the headline is incendiary influencer Andrew Tate brother and his brother Tristan, I believe his name, arrested on sex trafficking allegations. Now, this is something that they've been battling as far as the national media for an extended period of time, and it said that social media influencer Andrew Tate and his brother was busted. Gotta love the media. Gotta love the media. Were busted in Romania Thursday related to these allegations. Police in tactical gear descended on a villa Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan were staying at Thursday to detain the British brothers on kidnapping and these other charges. Judicial sources told Romanian outlet, whatever. Video shows officers armed with battery rams, guns sweeping through the dark villa before escorting Tate into a car. The brothers had allegedly detained two young women, one with American citizenship and one Romanian, inside the villa against their will in April, where they were subjected to physical violence and mental coercion. Now, we all know that this is cap. And this is unfortunate, right? Because, and this is why it's so important for men to, at this point, really figure out what the heck is going on. Because it's not just happening here in America. It's not just happening in Romania. It's not just happening in the UK. It's not just happening in Canada. It's not just happening in Mexico. It's happening everywhere. And so it's two different things that we have to take into consideration when we're looking at this. And then it's one point that I want to make here, right? But before we get into it, let's read the rest of this report. Obviously, that's him being taken into custody. Hopefully, he's good. Police said the Tates. Okay, we're gonna have to stop this foolishness. Police said the Tates allegedly formed an organized crime group and sexually exploited women by forcing them to perform these act demonstrations for the purpose of producing and disseminating through social media platforms. Now they're being forced. Brothers were questioned for 5 hours by police on April 11th, but were released. Officers recovered various weapons during the raid, including several guns, a knuckle duster, a hatchet, swords of varying lengths, and in addition to stacks of money. Video of Tate being escorted into a car and flanked by officers was shared shortly after the news broke. Tate's arrest could have been offset or set off by his Twitter feud with environmentalist environmental activist Greta Thunberg the day prior. So he's going against the grain, going against the norm. And Andrew Tate has been talking about this for an extended period of time as far as he doesn't even know where to put his money or his investments because anything can be taken from him anywhere, anytime, depending on who doesn't like him at that particular time. The controversial influencer tagged her in a post showing his 33 cars and asked for her address so he would continue to brag that they contributed greatly to pollution. Oh, man. So let's break this down. I want to give my thoughts on this, right? Really quickly. All right. First thought that I want to share with you guys is it's unfortunate because it's unfortunate that there is an attack on masculine men. I'm not going for it. I don't believe that anybody was coerced. Andrew Tate or his brother Tristan talks often, and they seem to be very authentic for me. They talk about respecting people, how other people benefit as a result of rocking with them, all of these other type of things, right? And so I'm not going for it. Secondly, if they were questioned back in April and then released And then now they're coming after him after he's become even more infamous. And remember that word, infamous. It sounds like the media, the powers that be, whoever they are, and people in general are coming for the top G. So the question then becomes this. This is the question. How much is too much to where you go from being famous to being infamous? How much is too much to where you go from famous to being infamous? People think that rich people are low key because that's just how wealth moves, and it's not. Rich people operate around rich people like rich people, right? But you don't necessarily see it on display like this because we haven't had as much visibility into these people via social media as we do now. But the problem with this whole situation is that once you start hitting certain levels, you start to understand and realize that, oh man, I'm going from being famous to being infamous. Because it starts to divide people based off of the fact that you are saying what you're saying, which may make one side or the other uncomfortable. Think about a politician, right? There's always going to be at least half the country against them, no matter what they say, no matter how nice they are, so on and so forth. There's always going to be at least half the country against them. Andrew Tate, the first time that I've ever seen Andrew Tate was, I believe it might have been on Fresh and Fit. And he was just one of the guys to me, right? I never actually watched the episode, but I might have seen a clip or a thumbnail or something like that where he was in there with a bunch of dudes. But obviously, he superseded that and he's become more than just famous. It's already dangerous enough to be famous, but then he's become infamous. And then the fact that he gets more visible and then he brags about his cars and how much money he has or whatever. And so, it starts to turn into a situation where you start to have a target on your back, especially when you're making people uncomfortable, when you're going against the grain when it comes to big issues that people are trying to push an agenda towards. You have a target on your back. We already seen several people, including him, get canceled from several different platforms, including social media on YouTube, TikTok. If you have any Andrew Tate content on your channel, you already know that you automatically gonna catch a flag if your channel has any kind of visibility or any high level of subscribers. Let's just say 30 to 50,000 or more subscribers. When certain people go into the algorithm, when you put their name up, it's automatically gonna flag it before you ever able to do anything. That's just the real. That's just a fact. And so it's a delicate balance that we have to have, and that you want to go from being a little bit famous to being infamous, but then you have to understand the implications and it starts to have a target on your back. That's A. And then B, it's so easy for people to just pin any kind of accusation from any woman, substantiated or not, on you. Next thing you know, they kicking in your door acting like you are. He in this picture right here, he looks like the most wanted man on the face of the planet. Ain't nobody talking about the Taliban. Ain't nobody talking about the descendants of Osama bin Laden. Don't nobody care about none of that no more. Everybody done forgot about Ukraine. The only thing they do is they targeting people like Andrew Tate, and it's unfortunate. I'd love to get your thoughts. Obviously, I'm going to give my thoughts on this a little bit more probably tomorrow once I get a little bit settled. I got some interviews to do tomorrow and things like that. I got a live stream to do tonight. I need to go and get something to eat before we live stream and take care of business. So I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. What do you think about this? Top G getting arrested and now is one of the most infamous people on the face of the earth and being accused, him and his brother, of some of the most egregious things that we've seen come across the news. I think it's absolutely silly. I think it's crazy, and there's no way that we should be even having this conversation right now. I love you. I appreciate you. Fellas, you're not safe nowhere you go. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.